One of the things that you hear these days a lot is how stressful life has become. And people are told that because of the stress, they have, diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on. And these are things you have heard, I'm sure, many a time. And that particular stress is caused by the lifestyle and so on. I want to share with you in this next little videos our perspective on, when I say our, I'm talking about our traditional Vedic Sampradaya. What exactly is stress? We'll start with that, and from there we go on to looking at some of the causes of this, and then eventually, of course, we want to make sure that we look at some of the solutions that we can actually use today. There's no point in comparing with how life was 100 years ago or 200 years ago. It is what it is, and we have to make sure that we have solutions for today's situation, not how things were long time ago. So let's start with this whole concept of stress. What is stress? Well, in the first place, if you look at the definition of the word, it is when things are compressed or pressurized. So when there's a pressure on us, we feel stressed. The question is, what kind of pressure are we talking about? And is it physical? Is it mental? Is it a combination of the two? What exactly is happening? It's not just a question of having to work hard, because my claim is that people actually physically work much harder 50 years ago than we do today. So it cannot be just working hard. That doesn't cause stress. So physically, what is it that will cause stress? Well, in the first place, every single human being is endowed with some energy, right? Now that may go up and down. Now that is a function of genetics and what we consume in terms of food, our sleep habits, lifestyle, and all of these things. But the question arises, with that given amount of energy, what can I do with it in a stress-free environment? So if you look at physical stress, start with, what we eat makes a huge impact on that, of course. So, we normally refer to as what we refer to as sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. So if you look at sattvic food, it's basically things that our body needs and things that don't cause any unnecessary excitement, unwanted excitement in the mind. That is usually what we refer to as sattvic food. So this food that we consume, whatever that might be, that consumption, obviously some of it is going to turn to energy. So the food actually, after it is digested, it is split into three parts. One part, the nutrients in that food, goes to our physical body. Things that are not needed gets thrown out of the body. But most importantly, there's also the energy part in that food. That energy is actually what is sent not only to the bone marrows, reproductive organs, and so on, but it basically creates energy in the system, right? So for starters, if we eat sattvic food at regular intervals, not just snacking whenever we feel like, there itself, you're going to make a huge impact on the kind of energy that you have, so that we can deal with whatever life throws at us, whether it's physical or mental or something else. But there's a second thing too, which is that the energy that is in that food is actually dependent upon the energy that went into not only the ingredients, but the person who was preparing the food. So if we constantly eat outside, then what happens is the people who actually were preparing this food They may be doing it for commercial reasons, or they may be doing it for some other reason. Definitely, they're not going to be doing it with your interest at heart. So it's very important that we consume food that is actually prepared by someone who actually has your best interest at heart. So that comes with good energy with you. And one of the things also we can do in this regard is that no matter who makes it, no matter how it is, no matter what it is, one way to make sure that we cleanse the energy part of it is to always offer it to God first and take it as prasada. So what that will do is it will change the energy in that food. The nutrients and all those things will be exactly the same. There is no difference at all. It is just the energy component gets cleansed out, if you will. And secondly, when we actually eat this food also, we don't eat it just for our own sake of enjoyment, or chapala as we call it, just because we want to enjoy eating this food. But not that we should not enjoy the food. Of course, we should enjoy it. But apart from that also, if we actually consume that food as an offering to all those entities, the divine entities that are within us, then what happens is that these divine entities will accept that. And if there is anything that is not good in that, that is going to be changed. So it's such a simple thing. It's not really very difficult to practice in everyday life. Just have to be a little careful in making sure that we actually don't use from an ingredients perspective, make sure that we don't eat anything that is tamasic. And secondly, make sure that the person who prepares that prepared it for a good reason, in a good frame of mind. And thirdly, we actually offer it to divinity before we consume it ourselves. That is the starting point of making sure that I have good energy in my body.